Yes, so I started without you once again. My apologies. I just had a weird idea, thought, creative content discharge flow mechanism. Um, that's kind of dumb, but you know the he said, she said, or like, and she was like, and I was like, way to say something. I feel like because I talk over these, my content, my input is being annoying, I guess, interrupting. Um, but what I want to do is generate a conversation with the people I agree with, and this is a stretch here, to encourage online Google Hangout like groups to occur with people physically or no live, which then makes more brings more awareness to the community, which then brings more awareness to the familiarity and comfortability with speaking to one another live on live streams with those people that are not necessarily the closest around you, but that's what it's going to turn into, which means you're then going to be meeting people from your area if you want to the right way. And what I mean by that is you start out globally, watching three or four people on YouTube, which then turns into 40 people on YouTube, which then turns into 600 people on YouTube. Chances are maybe a few of the 40 or the 100 or whatever led up to the 600, chances are a few of those people might be in your area. And you found them because of the topic and not necessarily your location. So there's almost like a much more deeper, a far more substantially, I have no idea what I'm trying to describe, but it's a lot deeper than the usual way, or the way they would do it if they didn't take this advice. Whereas wow, I kind of went off on something there, so I'm sorry if it made no sense. Now, here's for some sense. Oz Crypto is my Australian brother from another mother.
G'day XR people and welcome
Good
to
eye,
Oz
mate.
Crypto, first
And
investment or financial advisor. Any information.
what? I don't know if this is the way my brain works, the way it wants to work, or what. But it's almost like when I'm listening to someone speaking and it's in a foreign tongue or a foreign language, I start to think about sometimes things about I think about things in my life in their accent, which then makes me think about things in their life in their accent, and I almost like get into their head in a weird sort. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's like because it's so crazy to get on an airplane and fly to someone to see them in Australia. It's just as crazy to think that if you started thinking in someone else's language, well, in this case, since I don't understand a language that well, I have to do it with an accent. But if you get to know someone more and more and more to the point of being able to use their accent as they would think about a topic you both are interested in, and that's the key word here, the topic you're both interested in is kind of what brings you together. So that's what leads 40 global YouTube people to boil down to 600, and that's how you meet in person. I'm not sure if I just made the same point twice or no idea.
Which anything cited below. Massive thank you to everyone who's liking, subscribing, and sharing. Please
Oh,
continue
yeah, I
to
don't know
do so.
why I
Tonight's video,
imitate his
very
accent,
short one.
is
I
what I'm
just really
saying.
want to touch on a couple of things that this brought to mind. This is actually an image that was posted, or I was tagged in, by Crypto Mitch, which if you haven't checked him out, he's a fellow Aussie who has his own YouTube channel. I have caught a video or two of his. The main reason that this brought a bunch out of my mind was right now there's a bit of a cut. There's a bit of a lull in the price going down.
Sorry, got off on a tangent, and my tangent turned into a texting tangent. So, is it a better use of time? Hold on, I need something to drink. Whoa. Tea time. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't really want for this to turn out like that. Freaking annoying ass podcast that I don't want to listen to because the guy doesn't sit down and still. But since I keep forgetting, shit, I feel that is hot. Hot water's hot, folks. Oh, shit. So I always forget to turn. I basically have to leave this recording for like the next hour and a half or whatever, because if I ever stop it, I get so deep in thought on something else that I get literally off on a tangent that takes an hour and a half. And sometimes that tangent's even more interesting than the one I was trying to record in the first one. So it's like, I can't stop recording it because I don't think I'll remember to record it, in which case I just record everything, so I kind of have to keep recording is what I'm trying to say. Sugar. Probably should put less and less sugar in here, but I feel like with the rate my brain moves, it's like a hummingbird. It needs sugar. Now get ready for an epic sink kettle spout pour trick. I don't know what I would describe this to someone who wasn't watching it, so sorry. I'm gonna turn that off. Alright, I might just have to deal with water for now because that is ridiculously hot. Here's better. Seriously, I think I could talk forever. My only problem is my mouth gets ridiculously dry. Sometimes my family knocks a little on me when I am at at family gatherings, whether I'm with them or they am with me, whichever. But they say, "Oh, Brady, you talk so much." And I'm like, yeah, and? what if I want to? But to their point. Anyway, they're right. I do talk a lot. And I think that's why I always get a dry mouth. Oh, that's what I wanted. Music. Sorry, I have a whole other setup I forgot to do, because if I'm trying to think and it's dead silent, I literally start thinking about dead silence and how quiet it is, and then I get sidetracked from my other thinking. So I need... Has anyone ever looked at those, I have a, what is this called? POS? Lenovo. I have one of those Lenovo POSs, and it has this preloaded screensaver on the front. I guess it's a screensaver. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that. But screensavers, I remember those on a computer so that they didn't freeze and You'd have to. Wow. Yeah, so screensaver in the front. They have cool pictures of. What is this? What am I looking at? Nature photo, a picture of someplace. Someone stood in a place and took a cool picture of nature, put it that way. I think it'd be really cool to go around the world. Sorry, now I'm getting sidetracked again. To go around the world and sign in, stand in those places and like take a selfie. I don't know, I just thought it'd be cool. Alright, so what's it all about? I don't even know if that's a song. I think I just put two together. Oh, I like my sugar with coffee. Yeah, that's what I was singing today. Someone had brought in a Beastie Boy. Pandora. Can't come soon enough. 'Cause I'll just keep on talking exactly what I think. And maybe. So it literally, like the second it comes on, like imagine your brain swimming in the water, and each time it can't finish a full thought and get sidetracked, it like loses oxygen. But since you're already underwater, you don't really have that much oxygen. So it's like this literal race to get music playing in my ear while I talk so I can stay focused. It's the only way I can explain it. It's very bizarre. But it's like my super, excuse me. That is very rude to burp in a microphone. I've been thinking of getting one of those shotgun mics for my Android, but I don't know, I kind of like that I can hear, when I hear some of my playbacks, I like that I can hear stuff in the background as if I were there listening to it to begin with, kind of thing. So I don't know if that means I'm imagining they make one microphone that captures ambient sound and you put that in the middle of the room, and then you have another mic that you have a shotgun mic or a lapel mic or a directional mic, we'll call it. I have that on the person. And then you link those two together and it's like, I'm sure that's what they do for all those fancy cast stories. Which I do admire how some of them have intros, and I find that interesting, but I don't know, maybe it's because I consume most of my, quote, podcast material through YouTube. So it's like because they know you can see them, for some reason they don't do a podcast, but it seems like it's like if there were no such thing as radio people, would we have podcasts that turn out like that? Or would podcasts sound more like news and TV if we just started with news and TV and didn't go to radio first? Does that make sense? Like it's almost like the old-time radio people, their last, or not their last, but one of their, I'm going to go for an in-hand epic kettle topper. Basically, the last place they feel like they can flex their knowledge, we'll call it, is in... Oh my gosh, this pour is so good. I don't know why I get so proud of these, but very weird. What am I trying to say? Yeah, I totally forgot. Anyway, let's go back to my tweet. It's probably about time I ran out of things to sidetrack me with. And see, now, freaking serious. Now I'm thirsty again. This is ridiculous. Yeah, take this 15-minute intro, you podcasters. I don't know. I think that's where I was. I don't think I think I dislike podcasts because I never got into them. Because all the information that I really consumed was visually, so I'd watch YouTube. But a majority of the YouTube videos I watch can be consumed auditorily only, if that makes any sense. So whenever I listen to a video, it ends up turning into a vlog, and you end up learning about the person. I think when you do a podcast, maybe that's what this is all about. Oh, actually it is. No, this is sort of what interesting. Might be able to play that into this tweet. Basically, our podcast's dying, and you're just going to rip. Well, put it this way: the radio format podcast style is dying, but the rip the sound right off of a video file audio podcast will survive. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I think, not instead of, but I could see this happening, put it this way. So all of these things are said with a grain of salt, and I'm just, waxing poetic. If you take, say, someone likes to watch, the reality TV people, the reality TV Susie here watches is primarily based on like lifestyle changes and people's stories of how they grew, and whether it's weight loss stories or disability stories of someone going through rehab, and whatever it is, those kind of feel good growth risk potential, high ratio, whatever it is, like what is it called? And so, some of these I watch, and that's why I'm saying this, because that's how I think about these things. From the things that I consume, it kind of goes into my head and spits out a receipt, if you will. Anyways, where was I? Crap. So podcasts that are ripped directly off of videos are going to be more prominent and circulate at a much higher rate than podcasts made by conventional radio means. Because I think it's not the sound quality we're looking for, it's the quality of what we're hearing, aka the content's humanity rating. Like I wouldn't know what to call it, but what is the value the content brings to its platform? Does it feed a what are they called? A feedback loop of positivity that helps the community grow, or is it a feedback thing that either excludes and ostracizes one part of a community, or do they just go off, on their own and play in their own area, that community? What part of your content are you creating? And I think that would allow us to differentiate. Like, imagine going to 3 different areas of your clicker, your TV remote. Imagine pick up your TV remote and you go to the 10s, the 20s, and the 30s, like a channel in your... How am I trying to say this? The way you change the channel on your TV is how you're going to change the channel on your content. The people that are really living their lives and, going out there and getting it done, and the ones that motivate you, you can say, I want those on my top, the 10 channels over here, the 30 or the 10 or the 20. And then, the channels that are a little more guilty pleasure, but you still learn something, can be in the middle. And then the channels that, like, are the ones that help motivate you, do what you know you should do, and get back on your horse and finish your shit and get it done back up to the top of the leaderboard. That's the way we're going to consume our content, basically. So the closer content creators today can get to broadcasting their message in a live format, the better. Because as a direct result of them doing this, they're going to be far more interesting to listen to and therefore learn about and understand and grow an attachment to and enjoy those weird, quirky things that they do that the community learns as they grow. So it's a real mind blower. It's the way I see basically the endings of all these stories in my head end with my success. And I always encourage people to think of stories and process things and think of things from the perspective where you feel you would gain the most amount of success. And before you do this, you have to define success for yourself. That's a whole other story, but anyway, I'm here now, so now I'm trying to figure out how to process everything else. Alright, I don't know where I was going right there. So, content creators, that's right. They need to record themselves lives more often than not. Put it that way. Hedge. This is what I'm trying to say. So this, hold on one second. Alright, I'm slowly getting the hang of this new stinking Samsung update. Is there any way that, like, I can choose how I want my whole freaking shit disoriented and disorganized? And it just feels like Facebook, but worse. Like when they started changing the format to things, and it's like everyone was bitching and complaining because they got comfortable looking at something a certain way, and then it would move, and then it would move, and then they change, and it was just like, come on. It feels the same way about this Samsung update. Maybe I'm alone. Who knows? All right. Oh, this is, my gosh, this is about the time that I remember that I am, oh, that's hot. The way I need to think about these tweets sometimes, unfortunately, is literally the only way I can communicate is through my fingers. So that it allows me to focus long enough to think of what I'm writing. This is some memento shit. The only time I remember this is when I'm doing it. I never remember this before I do it. So, that being said, let's mark 2353 as going in. Silent time. Well, not silent, but at least so I can write this bloody tweet. It's a better use of time to record a year's worth of content on one platform and then distribute it in a chronological order on another. Or should I focus on broadcasting current content on the top used Or should I focus on broadcasting current content on the top news platforms? Or should I focus on broadcasting current content on as many platforms as possible? I think we could do that at Team Gary. Vader Nation. I think that works. So let me get this right. Is it better? Is it a better? Is the time better spent recording? Is time better spent recording a year's worth of content and distributing it? Whoops, now we gotta chop it down. Sweet. Is time better spent? Maybe I'll be more specific and then I'll answer how he did it in the event of him answering. I need something to drink like it's nobody's business. I need like a humidifier in my face while I talk. I don't know if it's the air going over my mouth or the freaking water absorption rate into my brain directly through my mouth, but it gets dry ridiculously fast. Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform, is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform better or worse than distributing it in a chronological order I think this makes more sense, I hope, because I don't remember what I just wrote. Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform better or worse than distributing the same content in a chronological order on another platform? I think that makes sense. Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform better or worse than distributing the same content in a chronological order on another platform? All while producing more content all while producing more content. I hope that makes sense because that's all the room I've got. Oh, and drops in what are these EDM, whatever these songs are called. I don't even know what genre, not genre. What is the word? No, it's a genre. I don't even know what genres I listen to. Oh, I really want the iced tea, but it's being hot. So what I'm going to do is hurry it up. And I'm going to use one of my. So my yeah, I forgot to mention this. My grand idea for what was I thinking it was? For employing some guy that his name actually ended up being Jason. This happened quite a bit ago, so I was a little not reluctant to talk about it, but I wasn't exactly excited that I was wrong, let's put it that way. So I wasn't real eager to broadcast it just yet. And you know what? I might not want to do this. I guess So here's the irony. The process that I'm trying to avoid from happening is the actual process that enabled me to make what I'm holding, which is a wine glass cut into a cup. So the process of hot, cold to extremes is exactly what I'm doing, and I'm hoping it's not going to break in my hand, because that's what I do when I make the cut. To make the cut cracked, you do a thermal shock and you do hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. But I'm really just trying to make it not burn my mouth so I can not get it too dry. Anyways, that's quite enough out of you, Brady. Feels like it's summertime. That was a good pop. Hot mic. A hot mic pop. Alright. Yes, I'm going to put the freezer. I'm going to put the ice bag in the freezer, half ice, half not. Yes, I do that. Sorry if that annoys anyone. I think it annoys me, but I just got over it. Alright, now that I have flippin' beverage, step back into my studio, 10 feet away. Right, so Camus Vineyards is the bottle I'm drinking out of. 2015 Cabernet Sauvignon, Napa Valley. Hey, it sounds familiar. I think my boy Gary was over there sometime or other. Produced and bottled by Camus Vineyards, Rutherford, California. Sweet, so I kind of like their label. I guess if I were to shop by labels, I might like it. No, it's actually one of my... The reason why I didn't give this to the... I don't know if he was homeless, but I'll just... No, I don't want to call him homeless just because it's easier for me. That's ridiculous, Brady. Who was he? Let's see. Who was Jason? I probably should have had more of a conversation with him, and maybe that would have increased my chances of getting him to help me. Yeah, so the point behind this whole thing with giving him wine bottles turned into glasses to some random dude on the street to sell them was so that he could make money, and then in return he would do something for me, maybe for free, but if he didn't, I would pay him type arrangement. But yeah, I didn't quite get that off the ground. So I'm glad I didn't give him this cup that I now am using, because I like this one, because I would have lost it. So cheers. Right, I think this one makes sense. What am I at? 34. Jeez. Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform better or worse than distributing the same content on a chronological order on another platform? Oh, shit. Better or worse? I think I'm confusing myself. Because my question is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content while distributing it on one platform should I guess I'll just ask the question as it comes into my head. I don't know why I'm whatevering it. Alright, should I record content and worry about broadcasting it on multiple platforms, or should I stick to one? Or, yeah, sometimes that's better just to start another one. Should I record content Should I distribute content? Should I distribute recorded content? Maybe I should spell it right. Should I distribute recorded content in real time on one platform? And then upload it all to another platform? I think I'm answering my own question as I'm writing this. Crap. I think what I'm trying to do, what I need to do, or what I think is the answer. So then do I give my answer as a question? Should I do this? I think is the right way to ask this question. Should I distribute recorded content in real time on one platform Should I distribute recorded content in real time? No, it should just be, should I distribute recorded content on the top two platforms and then simultaneously I cheat at spelling, I admit it. Yeah, if something can guess for you, I guess spelling is kind of irrelevant unless you want to be fancy and write it down. I don't know. Or maybe this helps spelling. Who knows? Content on the top two platforms and then simultaneously it... Oh, crap. That's where I need to finish it. Hold on. Sorry, I wasn't sure how long I'd hold that for. Should I distribute recorded content on top? Should I distribute recorded content? Should I distribute recorded content via YouTube and Twitter? Should I distribute recorded content via YouTube and Twitter? Dude, just fucking work harder. I think the answer is allot yourself more time. So if that's my answer, how do I see... Well, I guess if an answer to my question is the answer I already know, then I know... I don't know. Should I distribute recorded content via YouTube and Twitter? Right, so I'm getting some ideas that might make this a little trickier than I was anticipating. Is there still a question in here? Really? Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform better or worse than distributing the same content in chronological order on another platform, all while producing more real-time content? Simultaneously producing dang it. Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform better or worse than No, then distributing the same content in chronological order on another platform, simultaneously producing more real-time comment. Isn't that a question mark? Then distributing the same content in chronological order on different platforms simultaneously. Simultaneously producing let's see. Is the time you spend recording a year's worth of content and distributing it on one platform better or worse than distributing the same content in chronological order on different platforms while simultaneously producing new content? Chronological order on different platforms while simultaneously producing new content. Yeah, I hope this makes sense. And I don't think yeah, so I think yeah, I guess it was 5. What is blowing up over here? 48 minutes, my gosh. Yeah, I was gonna watch one of Gary's videos, but I can't. Yikes. 45 minutes is kind of a long time to listen to someone ramble. How do I do this? I think... Fuck, is this like a 45-minute intro? Oh my gosh. How do I do this? I think I'm just have to make make these videos shorter? I don't know. Alright, so I'm gonna it'll probably be a part 2. We'll be back.